Uh, Hi. With the recent release of Alan Wake 2, it kind of had me reflecting on what got me into horror games and how I was introduced to them. And then it got me on the topic of what horror games I used to watch as a kid and play as a kid and how that affected me. And today, I don't have a script and I do not have anything really planned for this video other than what's in here. And, I figured, fuck it, we're going to talk about it. And I feel like this will definitely speak to a lot of you because you grew up the same way I did. My name is Cambrodia. Welcome to the video. Please subscribe if you enjoy it. And maybe tell someone about me because that would mean the absolute world to me. And today we're going to be going over horror games that changed my childhood. Now, if you were a young boy like me, in the 2010s, I was 6 years old in 2010. Yes, I'm not 30. I'm 19. And there were definitely horror games that were popular at the time. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. You might know an absolutely insane Swedish man by the name of PewDiePie. And he was kind of rocking horror games shit in early 2010. Amnesia in particular is one of the games that I wanted to talk about because I'm sure we've all seen clips like this and just the best fucking content that was made at the time. And it got me thinking. There was this whole cascade of events that changed the landscape of horror games through YouTube. And that was how I was introduced to horror games. I did not find my horror games through like Steam or Origins or like any actual trailers. I found it through fucking these guys. And they ultimately changed the landscape of horror games, and by not meaning to, just because of how large of an audience they had. And Amnesia was really, I feel like, the first big game to be exploded through YouTube content. It originally started out as a small project between like a couple of friends, and it wasn't even called Amnesia through its early days. It was a rough playtest beta, and then it's grown into this absolutely huge franchise that a lot of people love and adore. In fact, they recently released a full sequel to Amnesia, and it's been incredibly positively taken in by its audience, and they love it. And soon after Amnesia, I'm sure all of us are familiar with the Slender Man, the tall ass guy. Not that. Get that shit out of here. That movie was ass. This right here is what I'm talking about. Now, Slender Man in particular is one of them that I wanted to talk about because I was probably 10 or maybe like 8, 9 at the time whenever this fully like released, and it scared the absolute living shit out of me. Slender Man was the first horror game that really fucking scared me and made me think that he was real, because you would see those shittily edited photos of Slender Man and he's creeping up behind kids, and that shit made it real to me. And once again, this was all through YouTubers and through content creators that influenced my life and made me realize how much horror actually intrigued me and how much of this stuck with me whenever I was little. And I'm sure many of you went through the same process of watching Slender Man and being like, what the fuck is that, dude? Why does he have no face? Now, he might look like PS2 Hagrid to us now, but in the early days, that was a very scary man. And once again, this is one of those games that completely blew up through the YouTube just landscape and has like many games of its own franchise now with many secrets and a cult following. And none of this would have ever happened if it wasn't for some funny YouTubers playing it and just screaming really loud, which is absolutely crazy to me. And it's crazy to me that stuck with me to this day. There are so many classic clips that were made from this, and I feel like this was kind of the start of indie game developers starting to really make their mark in the gaming landscape through these kind of quick, fast horror games that weren't necessarily complicated as much as it was intriguing to the audience based off of the idea. And after this, there was many games that were made because of it. And one of those games that took the entire world by storm after it came out was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Was that the bite of
this
87?
This game released in 2015, as I'm sure all of us know, because there's no fucking way you're on YouTube and you haven't heard about it. But this game fucking exploded. As I'm sure all of you know, because there is a movie about it with Matt Pat and Corey X Kenshin, and Markiplier was supposed to be in it, and now Markiplier's making his own horror game movie. And it just kind of it shows how much impact that this platform actually has, and it's just absolutely insane to me. And Five Nights at Freddy's specifically changed my childhood because it started that era of kind of mascot horror, and we're still having the effects of it to this day with many games that have kind of spun off and taken the idea and twisted it in their own image. But this was the first game to truly like master it and get the effect of something feeling lifeless, but knowing that it's alive at the same time. Especially with FNAF, those frequent droning sounds, and it's the feeling of you can't run away and that you have a limited power. When you really get down to it, Five Nights at Freddy's is a resource management game. When you really get down to it, that's all it is. A resource management game and just a multitasking simulator. But it was the appeal and the look that captured everyone's fucking attention for the next 8 years. Because I can go on and on about this game. Am I proud about that? Absolutely not. But can I if someone's like, yo, you think, what do you think William Afton did in that suit, huh? Like, I will rant. And it's uncontrollable, and it's word vomit. Like, there were the most schizophrenic and off-the-wall lore for Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, hands down, out of any game I have ever played, this had the craziest and, like, the most reaching theories that made no sense. And I can still, like, think about them to this day. It's crazy to me that, like, how much that game genuinely affected me, not only because of how scary it was, but because of the attention to detail, the art style, the sound effects alone, the story, and the overall just aesthetic of it was what made it so special to me. And then of course around the same time period we got Outlast, and Outlast makes me fucking shit my pants. Outlast is hands down probably the scariest game I've ever played to this day, for a lot of reasons, and one of those is the atmosphere. And I do not care who you are, the atmosphere of Outlast 1 in particular. I played the second one. It's not as scary as the first one to me. I've always been uncomfortable by hospitals. This might just be a me thing, but hospitals in general, just the feeling of it, and the light fixtures and the brightness of the lights have always kind of given me this feeling of artificialness that I can't quite explain. And Outlast takes that and turns it up to a 10. You're in an insane asylum that is abandoned, and everything is white or dimly lit, and there's mental, like, patients just running around. And every aspect of the story and the gameplay and the sounds, in combination with the night vision camera mechanics, is so perfectly made to be just so goddamn scary, because you're never protected and you can't see half of the time. And the only tool that you have at your disposal, your night vision camera, doesn't work all the time because it needs batteries. So you better watch that battery, because if not, you're fucked and you're out of luck. I specifically remember a stream that I did where I played this game, and even though I had played like through it before and known what was going to happen, the music score that they use and the way that they use it was so unsettling to me that I was a bitch, and I kept pausing every 5 seconds because I did not want to go any further. But you know how Twitch chat is. They were calling me bitches, and like I can't lose to Twitch chat, all right? There's one thing I can't lose to. It's you fucking guys. I'm not losing to you. But that first real jump scare whenever you go into the insane asylum and you take a left and you look down that hall and you see that little fucking decrepit man sitting in his wheelchair, and you know he's live. You know in your soul that man is not dead. He's sitting there waiting for you. And you know that the developer was fucking evil laughing as he put him there. Oh my god, that's mental hell. I cannot take shit like that, where it's like you see it in the distance and like you know it's watching you and you just can't do shit about it. That was the same feeling I got for Slender Man. That was the same feeling that I got for Five Nights at Freddy's. It is that feeling of being watched and knowing that you're being watched, but you can't do jack shit about it because you're stuck in there with them. I love the twist that Outlast did, where you are mobile and you're more mobile than the enemy most of the time, but there are multiple enemies and there is like certain aspects that you just will fucking deal with. It is inevitable that you're gonna meet one of them. And not to mention, the story is amazing. I personally love the story of Outlast as you uncover those logs and kind of learn more about some of the patients there and what is actually going on and what is occurring. If you haven't played Outlast, go fucking play it. In fact, if you haven't played any of the games that I previously mentioned, go play them. They are all wonderful, and they are all absolutely worth a playthrough, especially Amnesia and Five Nights at Freddy's. Slender Man is cool, and I do like the story, but its story is pretty dry comparatively to the other ones that I've previously mentioned. It's more of like an hour, 2 hour playthrough, and you've kind of done everything. It's you grab the pages, and then that's kind of it. Except for the other one where you get all the pages and then you light the fire and like there's more of a story to that one. That one's great. You should go play that one. But Amnesia in particular has a very long campaign that will entertain you for multiple hours, and you'll have a blast playing. More importantly, it was crazy to see how some of these genres evolved and changed aesthetics. The first Amnesia feels very different from the second, the bunker one that came out recently. Same feeling, but very different setting. And you can tell that all of these companies that did start out with kind of that one game hit that kind of launched them off were started by very small peoples and studios that really did care about the product that they were making. And that's something that I feel like you don't see a lot of nowadays, is smaller companies that do really care about what they're making. But there were obviously smaller games that caught my attention here and there. There was that one Jeff the Killer game that Markiplier played. I am no longer a Creepypasta fan. Do not go to the comments and fucking berate me because I liked something when I was 12. But whenever I was 12, that shit was scary. And there's that clip of Markiplier getting scared by that Jeff the Killer cube and screaming his shit. That sticks with me to this day. And that is like my Roman Empire. I think about that daily. But I really feel like that those games kind of shaped my childhood in a way, and not only those games, but those YouTubers as well kind of shaped my childhood in a way. And I wanted to make this video to kind of share that with you, because I guarantee that there are a lot of more of you that share that same kind of feeling than just me. Like, it was just a huge thing back then, and the impact that it has had is absolutely crazy. Also, I'm going to make an Alan Wake 2 video probably sometime next week. So if you want to watch that, you should click the subscribe button, and it'll pop up in your feed eventually. Probably like fucking Thursday, some shit like that. I make these videos pretty frequently because I do love doing this. But I also do want to hear what horror games that affected you as a child in the same way that it affected me. Because it was more of a fascination with it and being terrified of it at the same time. And I'm sure that there are games on here that I absolutely missed that I would love to hear about from you. Whether it be a similar experience you had with another game or a similar experience you had with any of the games that I've previously mentioned on this video. But I think that's really about it. My name is Cambrodia. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Always take care of each other, and I love you guys. So, see you next week.